Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Sekiro, and this is going to be a bit of a different video. I'm going to be doing some live commentary, and hopefully I want to help out the people that are really struggling with Sekiro. That's always been one of the things that I've tried doing with Souls games and any game that has a particular barrier of entry. I've always tried helping people out. So right now we're in a new game, and I'm not going to be going through the entirety of the game explaining every single thing to you. However, I will be cutting to certain points of the game to give you guys an idea of a couple of things that you can try out, which will hopefully help you out in the long run. So let's begin. So the game's tutorial is actually really good at teaching you about hugging onto walls and stuff, and a couple of stealth techniques like, hey, tall grass keeps you in stealth. So this is like one of the first things that you want to learn. You might want to listen to what some of the enemies are talking about, because that will give you more context into the world. But mostly just pay attention to the stealth elements of it, the eavesdrop elements of it, and all of that stuff, because ultimately there's a lot of things in Sekiro that are going to be dependent on you being able to be stealthy to make the game easier for yourself, especially if you're struggling, but more on that later. Okay, so here's a tip. Every now and then the game will expect you to jump onto certain ledges, and those ledges sometimes can feel a little bit finicky to get the grab on. I mean, I have a little bit more practice at this point, so I usually get it pretty flawlessly. But if you are struggling to get the grab, just know that you can keep square pressed, and that will always grab. So you can jump, hold square, you will always grab 100% of the time. No issues whatsoever. Also remember another thing, which is there are two ways of climbing up. You can jump up, but that will alert enemies. So usually you want to climb up by pressing square again, as opposed to always jumping. Because I know that it is usually the reflex option to just jump, but just press square instead, and most of the times you'll be much better off. Okay, so after the first cutscene with Kuru, you get your healing gourd as well as your katana. Now, a very important thing is, in this particular section, you might want to come back up here, get yourself a healing pellet, just in case you feel like you want to be cheeky and try to beat Genichiro at the tutorial. These pellets are going to be very useful. Now, another thing that you'll notice is that even if you drink your healing gourd, and by the way, you should equip your healing gourd and a pellet on your quick items as fast as you possibly can. But even if you use your healing gourd here at the start, you're still going to be at half health, which is not particularly good, especially if you're just starting out playing Sekiro and you're like, man, I really want to learn this game and all of this stuff, and I'm really struggling. Okay, so here's a tip that you can do. At any point in time during this tutorial, you can use the homeward idle, and it will return you to your previous checkpoint, even though there's no sculptor's idols. It will just return you to a checkpoint and fill up your gourd uses as well as fill up your health. So that is something that you might want to do, particularly before Genichiro. Also, avoid using any pellets whatsoever in the enemies before Genichiro, because you want to have all three pellets if you want to have a chance at beating him in the tutorial for the real cutscenes, so to speak. So anyways, let's continue. The first set of items you get, these dudes in the white robes, they're super easy, so you can just like run up to them. Sure, you can death blow them from behind if you really want to. This one you can just like overwhelm them. But the next one is going to be fairly different, because the next one is going to parry and deflect most of your hits. So, 1, 2. Now notice that he always attacks after he deflects your parry, right? Like, look again. We're gonna kill him soon. So what you want to do is, once they get that first deflection in, you want to do the L1 spam. So basically, you do your 2 attacks, and then he's gonna deflect. You'll see the sparks flying off. And whenever he does that, just spam L1 like this, and most of the times you will get an instant parry off of enemies that do that. As a matter of fact, that's almost like a rule of thumb for a lot of enemies in the game. It's like you can attack right up until the point where they deflect you, and once they deflect you, you want to go on the defensive. So you can stay on the offensive all you want. The only one that's going to deflect me is the one with the hat, because these guys are a little bit too easy. So look. Okay, you actually got a cheeky hit in, the little bastard. But attack, attack. There's the deflect. You saw the deflect right there? I actually didn't parry that because I'm slacking. There's the deflect, and you deflect right back with the L1 spam. Boom. Bob's your uncle. So this first boss has an interesting thing, which is he's got hyper armor whenever he puts his sword up. So like that right there, that's hyper armor. So you want to do the L1 spam whenever it seems like he's about to come at you. And you can actually just defeat this guy by spamming L1. Like, you can just sit here like this. And sometimes you'll get parries. You just got to be careful to not let him break your posture. Speaking of which, when you block, your posture gauge actually recovers faster. So, attack, attack. There it comes. Hyper armor. Again. First death blow. So basically just spam attack until you see him raise his sword up. And then you deflect. Here it comes again. Attack, attack. We actually killed him a little bit too fast, but once you get practice into the L1 spam, most enemies kind of become that easy to break. Not all bosses. You guys will see that as we get into some of the mini bosses, which I will get into to give you guys some better examples. But anyways, let's carry on and let's go on to Genichiro. Make sure you pick up this pellet right here, because like I said, you want to have as many as possible. At this point, you should have 1 healing gourd, 3 pellets. Okay, so once you get to this point, if you are not at full health or if you do not have your healing gourd, make sure to use your idol and come back. And basically, the game will just respawn you right here with full health, full gourds, and you should have your 3 pellets because I told you not to use them. Now let's go ahead and tackle Genichiro. Okay, Genichiro, you're supposed to actually lose in this fight. At least that's kind of what it seems like the game is designed to do, because a new player will usually be overwhelmed by Genichiro. However, if you get here with your 1 healing gourd and your 3 pellets, you have a pretty good chance of actually beating him. Now, if you remember, earlier I told you about how you can spam R1 on enemies right up until the point where they deflect. You'll see me do that a whole lot. And as soon as Genichiro deflects, I'm going to spam L1 in order to try and get one of my own deflects in. Now, one of the more dangerous things that Genichiro will do is either his thrust attack or his sweeping attack, because at this point you don't really have a way to punish thrust attacks, so you want to dodge to the side. Usually I dodge to the right side. I don't know if that's like something with my brain. I just tend to dodge more to the right side. If you ever see him jump up in the air like he's about to do a coming down attack, you want to also dodge to the side, so you'll see me do that, dodging off to the right side as often as I can. And his sweeping attack usually has a very distinctive telegraph, which is he will start running around you, and if you see him running around you, then you know, okay, he's about to do his sweeping attack. And the only way to punish a sweeping attack at this point in the game is to jump and leapfrog off of him, so you can actually jump on top of him when he does his little sweeping attack. However, if you don't feel comfortable enough to do that, just jump away. Just jump backwards and he will not be able to hit you. An interesting thing about Sekiro is that the jumping also has invincibility frames, very much like dodging. So anyways, let's get this started and let's see if I can actually make it, because I'm not a particularly good Sekiro player. Don't make no mistake. Okay, so like I said, just run up to him, get on the offensive. There's the parry. You want to instantly L1 spam whenever he parries out of your attacks. That's going to be the sweep. Leapfrog off of him, punish with more attacks. Dodge that to the right, because that's the leaping attack I told you guys about. Now spam L1 because he parried you. Dodge to the right because that's a thrusting attack. Spam R1, punish. That was his parry right there, but he backed off. That's another good sweeping attack. Punish that. Parry that. Dodge to the right. I messed up. Should have dodged that one to the right. I spammed too much. This was actually a mistake, because essentially what happened there is that instead of doing his sweep, he did the pattern like if he was going to do a sweep, but then he punished with his special, which happens sometimes. There's the sweep. Ooh, I actually canceled that sweep out. Sometimes that'll happen. Dodge to the right, because that was his thrusting attack. Remember, L1 spam. Oof, he broke our guard there, but we're good. Go on the offensive. There's the sweep. Punish that. Death blow. Now get right back on it. Don't give him no breathing room. Incoming spam of attacks, so spam L1. Move back, recover your posture. Now I'm going to be at half health because I messed up a previous attempt and used my pellets. Dodge to the right, punish that, punish, punish. You gotta be careful on this second phase, because sometimes after he does that little leaping attack, he'll go straight into a sweep. So if you see the danger kanji after that, be prepared to punish that with your little jump. Recover your posture by blocking, punish, punish. You parried, spam L1, punish, punish, parried, push to the right. Interesting, he hasn't been doing the sweep. There's the sweep, punish that. Gonna back away from that thrust. Attack, attack, attack. Usually you dodge to the right for the thrust, but I was pretty far away, so it was going to be safe. Trying to bait him. Attack, attack. You parried, so you parry right back, but I was a little bit too slow. Oh man, we might actually fail this. Come on, Genichiro. There's the sweep. And that was the wrong move. But still, we're still pulling through. Dodge to the right. Attack, attack, attack. Sweep. Punish. Spam. Dodge to the right. That thrust. Ooh, that was so dangerous. And... Ooh. Okay, that was a really panicky move. Push to the right. Punish, 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 punish. And death blow. So that was incredibly sloppy, and I didn't have the healing. I didn't have the healing pellets because I messed up before. Either way, you can see this cutscene for yourself when you actually do it. Let's move on because I want to show you guys a couple of more techniques. Okay, so after all of the cutscenes and all the stuff that happens following that particular event, you get your Shinobi Prosthetic, which lets you basically zip around through the world. And this is so important for anyone that is struggling in this game, because you need to understand something, and I'm not saying that people don't understand that. I'm just saying that you really need to make use of this tool if you are struggling, because it can make things so much easier for you. Your first example is right here. You jump on top of this building, and there's a dude. They even give you the tutorial. There's going to be a dude right there. You can just jump on him, stealth death blow, boom, one shot. You don't even have to fight. Now, for this first section of the game, you are rarely ever actually forced to fight, and that is something that you should definitely take to your advantage because, you know, you'll acquire resources. Now, here I'm going to be forced to fight because I messed it up. Oh, wow. Not only I messed it up, I'm being punished hardcore. Like I said, I'm not the best Sekiro player, and I'm not going to try and trick anyone into believing that because that would just be a lie. But try to always take it to the rooftops, always take the high ground, and always try to punish your enemies by coming down at them from behind, from the top. Where's the enemy? Oh, this guy saw me. Okay. I was like, what the hell? I'm just like straight up not even paying attention. But as you can see, it's fairly easy to overwhelm most enemies if you keep that basic idea in mind, which is you attack right up until they deflect. Once they deflect, then you deflect yourself, and then you get back on the offensive. And this is true for like a large chunk of the enemies. So we're going to death blow this guy right here because he has ranged attacks, even though killing that guy from behind might be more effective if you're struggling with the combat because this guy does parry. But again, if you parry immediately after he parries you, then you'll be fine. And look at how comfortable you can be in approaching enemies. We don't have any stealth skills whatsoever at this point, and you can just straight up walk up into an enemy and smack him in the face. And this is true for most enemies, okay? So if you take your time and you really just like stealth your way through these levels, you can just completely destroy just about anything the game has for you. Now we're going to rest here at this idol because I messed up and I lost my gourd, and now we're going to be fighting the very first mini boss that the game shows you so that you guys get an idea. And after that, I will also show you 2 more mini bosses in this video so that you guys get you know, an idea of a couple of tactics that you can use to make things easier for you. So here's your first Ningu. This should be fairly simple for most people. I'm not going to be using the Shuriken. We're going to be going toolless for this particular video. I might do one with specific tools later down the line. Actually, I made a mistake here because I wanted to show you guys something. So let me just reset this. You see, I have a terrible habit of just like, I already know where most of the things are, so I just kind of run through stuff. But anyway, in here you can see there are no enemies in this particular location, apart from that lone dude all the way over there. So you might want to like, oh, let's approach him. Let's see what that guy's all about. So you go in through the grass, and you get a good look. You get a lock on. You're like, oh, he's got 2 balls on top of his health. What the hell could that possibly mean? It means that he's a badass because he's got 2 balls, okay? Whenever they have 2 balls, it means that they're going to mess you up. So keep that in mind. Anyway, you're going to want to back off because, like, you don't want to fight that guy head on because he's got 2 health gauges. So what you want to do is you want to find a way to use the terrain to your advantage. Because you have all of these shinobi tools, why wouldn't you use the terrain to your advantage, right? So as you can see, he can almost spot me there because I'm like going real brazen. But if you really crouch down, he can't see you. Despite you can be really up nice and close to him, he still can't see you. Now I know that for a lot of people it is going to take some practice to do the aerial shinobi death blows, because sometimes you jump and your character jumps a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and it just messes up your stealth kill. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to just straight up drop right below him. And then we're just going to stealth right behind him, because that will give you like a 100% chance. Like, just make sure not to trigger that bonfire, right? And as you can see, I'm standing right behind him. There's nothing he can do about it. Now, keep in mind the stuff that I told you. Punish sweeps by jumping on top of them, and dodge thrusts, because you still don't have a Mikiri counter at this point, so you can't punish thrusts. So jump sweeps, dodge thrusts, and just attack until he deflects. And when he deflects, you go right back to deflecting at him. Let's begin. So you begin the fight with a death blow. That takes away one of his balls, so instead of you having to kill him twice, you only have to kill him once. And in here, they actually tell you about perilous attack. It's L1 just as thrust lands, deflect. X before sweep lands, jump. Circle before grab lands, step dodge. Basically, I would dodge most thrusting attacks until you get the Mikiri counter, because the deflect can be somewhat tricky, particularly if you're someone that's struggling with the game. Remember, this particular video is intended for people that are struggling with the game, so I'm trying to give you the most basic of tactics so that you can succeed. So anyways, let's continue. Immediately after we get the death blow, start punishing, just like straight up. Attack, 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 attack. Wait until Eri comes. Spam L1. You parry, attack, 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 attack. Parry, attack, 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 attack. Wow. You're really letting me have this one, aren't you? Look, that was the sweep. Spam L1. If you don't know what the hell he's doing, he can recover. I'm going to let him recover so we can fight a little bit more. Attack, attack. Spam L1. Like, look, it's not like whoop, jump. See, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to punish with that sweep, so I just straight up jumped backwards, and it's oh, you could have dodged right there, like I told you, but I was not in time to dodge right, so I just decided, like, look, I'm not doing any skillful parrying here. I'm just spamming L1, okay? Attack, attack. He's going to recover again. You can interrupt those, by the way. You don't have to let him do it. Like, look, just spamming this. L1, L1, L1. Now, do notice our posture was getting punished hard, so I held L1 for a little bit to recover the posture. Now, again, attack, attack. He parried. Spam L1, attack, attack, attack. Spam L1, attack, 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 attack. Spam L1, attack, and punish. So, see, guys, he didn't even touch us, okay? And it's like, sure, you can make mistakes. You can, there's a lot of mistakes that you can make throughout that fight. There's a lot of different techniques and stuff that you can do. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is that once you get through your head some of the way that some of these mechanics work, it can become not only a lot easier, but also incredibly satisfying once you actually overcome that obstacle, okay? So always keep in mind, attack right up until they deflect. Once they deflect, you deflect right back. And then if they do a sweeping attack, you jump it. And if they do a thrusting attack, you dodge out of the way. And I understand it's going to take you quite a while to distinguish between a sweeping attack, a thrusting attack, and all that stuff. Trust me, I know. I still struggle with that stuff. These earlier enemies are a lot easier, but the later enemies in the game, they mix that stuff up a lot more, and it makes it a lot more challenging, including some really weird grab attacks on some of the enemies that you will fight. But just keep these basics in mind, and eventually you will succeed. It will just boil down to practice at some point. Let's continue. So I actually almost made a mistake here because I wanted to show you a specific item that you have here. So this is where we killed the general. Now, if you jump down here, you can clear out this whole section if you want to. I'm not going to because for the purpose of this video, it's not particularly relevant. Instead, we're going to be jumping down here. We're actually going to be taking some damage on this fall. Actually, we don't take damage. I thought we were. Anyway, I'm going to pick up this item. It's some Gashin sugar. Now, this is going to be important for the chained ogre, and you guys will see why. Now, eventually, as you advance through the level, you'll get to this particular sculpture's idol. The chained ogre is right there, as you can see, and a lot of people do struggle with the chained ogre, and I understand that. but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently today. So for starters, you want to clear out the 2 enemies that are over there. Now, it is important as you play through the game, you'll begin to recognize the different types of enemies. So the dude over there with the straw coat is an extremely defensive character. So if you try to overwhelm him, it's going to take a while. So he's probably the one that you want to take out, because the other guy over there in armor, that guy just sucks. Like, you can usually kill those guys by just spamming R1, no problem whatsoever. Okay? So we're going to be coming here, killing this dude. Now we're going to be coming here, killing this dude. Okay, and now you can see the ogre up there. Now the thing is, if you just run up to him, the ogre is going to aggro and you're not going to be able to do much because he will see you. However, you are able to get over to the ogre, use this Genichiro before. Now you just kind of sneak up to him. You can sneak up onto him and he's not going to really see you. Then position yourself appropriately, stab him in the back. Now the key thing to the ogre is to always stay behind him, because if you stay in front of him, he can do a grab on you, and that is not something that you want. But basically, by stealthing up to him, you already eliminated one of his health bars. You can also just engage the ogre, then run away if you want to. There's nothing that really prevents you from running away from the ogre. So that's another thing that you can do. Never stay in front of him like I was about to do right there. And basically, this becomes a little bit of a patience fight. This fight is a lot easier if you go and find yourself some some fire tools that you can get in different portions of the game. But I'm just showing you that even without them, you can usually succeed. Just play it safe. And this particular fight teaches you something else. Sometimes when an enemy is a little bit too overwhelming, you can usually just run around them because there's no stamina gauge. So you can just run non-stop and you don't really have to worry too much about ever really like, oh, I'm gonna run out of stamina or something like that, you know? Now you see those little green symbols right there? That would have been useful if we had a skill that I like to get, but at this point in the game we don't have it yet. Especially the way that we're playing. You could actually do a punish there, but I messed up because I've been just doing the hit and run technique. But as you can see, it's like, even using this, it's fairly easy. You just like always stay behind him, just keep running, keep circling, wait for the opening, always bait attacks, and as soon as he doesn't attack, then you punish. Like right there, punish, punish. Now there's a problem here, which is we aggroed an additional enemy, and he is going to become problematic, especially because he has a spear. It would have been great if the ogre could hit that enemy. But basically, if you get into a situation like that, all you need to know is that the enemy isn't faster than the ogre. Oof. And now we're going to overwhelm him, get a death blow. Death blows give you invincibility frames, so make use of them. Now we did lose some progress on the ogre's posture bar, but he's losing so much health that he's just going to run out of health. And pretty much whenever an enemy runs out of health, any hit will trigger a death blow. Like right there. Boom. Death blow. So that's the ogre down as well. And, you know, there's easier ways of doing this, like I said. If you don't want to do it with the Genichiro like I did right there, what you can do is instead is you can run past the ogre on your first attempt. Just like run past the ogre, come up here. The guy with the spear will be right here. You will spam attack him. It's very easy to overwhelm him before he even gets a poke in you. Then by then, the ogre will have been released and you just jump away. And then you can just jump off into that rooftop. And once you jump here and you crouch like on this grass, the ogre will de-aggro. And once the ogre de-aggros, it's fairly easy for you to just sneak up on him from here. You should be somewhere around the steps once he de-aggros, and you can still get the cheeky death blow right here. And then you can kill the ogre. Anyway, now I want to show you a different thing, because this is one of the things that I feel a lot of people are struggling with, because I see a lot of people always talking about how, oh my god, but there's just so many enemies, there's so many moving parts. Like, look at this place, there's just so many people in here. And usually what you want to see is you want to identify if there is an enemy that could potentially alert all of the other enemies. So a very good indicator of this is ranged enemies. For whatever reason, ranged enemies in this game, they've got the eyesight of a friggin' god. So you can see that there's one right across from us, right there. You can actually see him. I'm looking at him. I can't lock onto him, but he's the one next to that little fire over there. So that guy is going to see you pretty much the moment you make yourself seen. But the more important thing even is that there's another enemy up there that has this frying pan looking thing, or is it a drum? I don't know what it is. Basically, that enemy starts making a whole lot of racket and alerts everybody else, okay? So those are two enemies that you definitely want to take into account in this particular situation. And then naturally, there's the boss right there. Now, in a situation like this, what you want to do is you want to clear out the entirety of the area of enemies before you actually engage the boss so that you can basically get a cheap shot in, like a death blow, because that's the way this game is supposed to be played. Like, don't think of it like, oh, I'm being dishonorable or something. No, that's the way this game is supposed to be played, particularly if you are struggling. That is one of the techniques that you will want to use. So anyway, you just look around and figure out how you can kill all of these enemies. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here is you can always reset everything. And I don't mean like make the enemies come back to life. I mean, I can go out there, kill one of them, leave, wait until they all go back to their cycle, go out there, kill another one, leave, wait until they go back to their cycle. And you can do that until you can isolate the boss. And once you isolate the boss, then you can kill this boss just like we killed the previous general. And I will show you. Now, the way I usually tackle this particular zone, and this can change depending on your personal approach, is I will let the rifleman see me. And then I will crouch my way through here to avoid detection from anybody else. Now, she is going to start making racket. Nope, can't have that. So we'll kill her. Now we can move away. And at this point, you can actually reset everything, right? Because the thing is, if you go in from the other side, let me just reset real quick here. If you go in from this side, the frying pan enemy will make a whole lot of racket and it will alert everybody to you being here. However, if you go from the other side, you get to kill that enemy and then you can wait until everybody just kind of like resets. Like, look, everybody's slowly resetting. There's still an enemy shooting at me, but he doesn't actually know what he's shooting at anymore. See, everybody's resetting. Except the boss for some reason. What are you doing? Uh-oh. I'm going to leave. Okay, no, the boss is going to reset as well. Sometimes you get into interesting situations like this, but the thing is, always keep your cool, okay? Just never really panic, and you'll be fine. Like, look, the boss is going to lose aggro, and he's going to go back to his regular routine. There he goes. Once the boss goes back to his regular routine and everybody loses aggro off of you, now you can get to work. So you're going to hide yourself here because two enemies have already almost spotted you. You're going to want to kill that guy because you know that those are the defensive dudes. So you wait until he comes in. And I'm saying this for this particular situation, but like any situation in this game can be distilled down to something like this. Any situation where there's multiple enemies and a mini-boss can be distilled down to this. Getting down there, killing somebody, and then making your way back to safety. Like, we killed this guy, the other guy almost saw us, but he's not quite. Now, he's facing downwards, so he shouldn't see us approach him from behind. So we'll get him. And now I'm actually going to make use of an item that I've actually gotten to use a whole lot. Now, the first time you've used these ceramic shards, you might have been like, man, those things friggin' suck. I know I did. But the thing is, you have to actually target them with it. It's kind of weird. Bank. Now he's going to come up to the side here, and we're going to murk him the second he pops his face out. Pop. He's dead. And basically just make use of your stealth techniques. Whoop. That guy's coming back around. I mean, then it's all about how sloppy you want to make it, how clean you want to make it. Like, usually when I'm going through these zones at this point, I just do it like super sloppy. I run through, I kill everything, alert everyone, and then just wait for the boss to go back to his position and kill him. But if you want to do it really cleanly, really shinobi style, you also can do that. So here's another one. Now there's the rifleman that identified us earlier, and he has a friend. So we'll kill his friend first, because riflemen are easier to overcome. I mean, what's he going to do? Block me with his rifle? Pfft, get real. The boss still hasn't seen us. And I don't know if there's any more enemies around here or not. Sometimes there'll be enemies down here. But I guess because of the big mess we did at the start, they'll have left. Now, Crouch up. Go up to the boss. Backstab him. And do the exact same thing we did for the other mini-boss. Punish, 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 punish. Punish, punish, punish. That was the hyper armor. Dodge to the right. Attack, attack, attack. Oof! I don't know how I missed that, but okay. We need to actually back off because we got a lot of posture damage. He's going to do a very quick attack when he does that, so you want to prepare for counter. Punish, punish, punish. Hyper armor. What? Punish. We're not going to let him recover from that. I'm surprised that I haven't gotten hit yet by some of those attacks. We broke our posture. Oh, I don't have Mikiri yet. I'm so used to Mikiri counter. Oh, man. Remember when I told you that there are certain skills that you definitely want to get? The Mikiri counter is one of them because it allows you to punish those thrust attacks. But yeah, we messed up the thrust attack. We should have dodged right. But other than that, we killed him. And as you can see, at this point, we haven't really died. I mean, I did die earlier because I was trying to explain something I messed up during the explanation, so I had to reset. But basically, we made it through. We killed Genichiro. We killed one mini-boss, two mini-bosses, and the Ogre. The Ogre is also kind of like a mini-boss. And hopefully, these techniques help you guys understand better. This is a very basic tutorial here just to help people get started, just to help people understand the idea of Sekiro. But I think one of the most important things is definitely you attack right up until they deflect. Once they deflect, you start deflecting yourself, just like that. Just spam L1. Just don't even worry about it. Just spam L1. You have a lot of time to get good. Right now, it's more important that you survive. And then eventually you learn to use L1 only when you need to use instead of spamming it like I've been doing right here. I mean, I'm still not that good. That's the thing. And I've already finished the game. And I'm not saying that as a brag. I'm just saying that as, like, really try. Just try. And I'm sure you can do it. Thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, if it helped you out in any way, leave it a thumbs up. And if you guys are new here, subscribe, bell notification icon, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys on the next one.